Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is the Paper Talk. I'm outside Old Trafford, and as you can see, the sun's not exactly shining, but it is a happier feel this morning following United's 2-0 win over Crystal Palace last night. A bit of a must-win game. Now, there was some controversy in the win. Yes, it looks on paper like a comfortable 2-0 victory, but United rode our luck a little bit at times. There was a Jordan Ayew disallowed goal from VAR. There was also a penalty claim by Crystal Palace. Victor Lindelof clashing with Wilfried Zaha. Palace fans were going mad. The Palace chairman took to social media saying that even a one-eyed Man U fan, as he put it, could see it was a penalty. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't see it like that. He spoke about it after the game and he said he thought that they got it right, that he thought Victor Lindelof made a decent challenge and that it was a fair tackle as well and that Palace didn't deserve their penalty. But it does leave United in a good position to get that top four. Yes, we're still fifth, but we are within touching distance of the teams above us. And of course, Chelsea have got to go to Anfield. Whether the Liverpool do us a favour there is another question. And we've played Leicester on the final day of the season. So it's still in our hands and we're still in with a good chance of top four. But before that, of course, we've got the trip to Wembley, probably staying in London, seeing as we're already down there for the Selhurst Park game against Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. Now, a lot of the paper talk this morning centres around Jude Bellingham. It was coming out last night, actually, this report, that Jude Bellingham had completed his medical to sign for Borussia Dortmund. Now, Bellingham was a long-term target for Manchester United. Well, I say long-term. He was about a 6-month target, which in football is a long time. Ever since he burst onto the scene as a 16-year-old for Birmingham City, United were reportedly in pole position to sign him. It looked like we were going to get him at one point. I mentioned this on the video the other day. We pulled out all the stops to try and sign Jude Bellingham. We brought him down to Carrington. We brought his parents down with him. I think his dad sort of acts as his agent, as you'd expect for a young lad, and he's looking after. Even Sir Alex Ferguson met him, and it looked at one point like that deal was going to happen, but for whatever reason it didn't. And now Jude Bellingham reports saying that he's completed a medical and he's set to sign for Borussia Dortmund practically any day now, any hour now, really. It could happen any time soon. It's a little bit sad that we're not signing him because he was a real prospect. We know he can play sort of anywhere, really. He can play midfield, he can play as a striker, he can play on the wings. I spoke to a Birmingham City fan a few months ago on Full Time Devils, when we were known as that, and he was raving about him, saying he was a great talent. He felt he could do a job in the Premier League. One of the problems or the issues that Manchester United may have had in signing Jude Bellingham or convincing him to sign is convincing him and his dad that he's going to get first team football here at Manchester United. We know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gives youngsters a chance, and we know that United like to play attacking football, and he is an attacking player. But the problem is, you look at our front five, and unless someone leaves, which doesn't look likely in a minute, we'll get to that later on, then he would be a reserve player. He would be someone, not a reserve player, but he would be someone who was more likely to be on the bench, and he may well have to wait a few years to get his start at Manchester United or to become a regular. Now, that may not be the case at Dortmund. He may well go straight into that team, and even though he is only a teenager, start most of the games. So you can also understand why he's gone to Dortmund, even though I'd like to see him come here at Old Trafford, and I think he'd have been a great player for United and one that could have played many games for us. He's gone to Dortmund probably because of first-team football, and it's a good sort of stepping stone for his career. And who knows if he stays at Dortmund. Dortmund, as I mentioned many times on these videos, are a bit of a selling club. He may well end up here one day. We may well go in for him further down the line. It's a similar feeling to Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland looked like he was going to come here at one point. He didn't. He went to Dortmund, of course. But again, there's a feeling around Old Trafford that deal isn't, or that sort of transfer isn't over, that one day Erling Haaland may well come to Old Trafford. And it may well be the case with Jude Bellingham, but he's completed his medical, so it just looks a matter of any moment now he's going to sign on the dotted line and become a Borussia Dortmund player. The figure being touted there is around £26 million. Again, I don't think that was the problem for Manchester United. I think we probably would have paid that, even though he's only a teenager and he's only played sort of, well, not a handful, but not that many games in the grand scheme of things in the Championship, but he's such a talent, it would have been worth it. It would have been worth taking a punt on. So, a bit disappointed it's not happened, but it's not the end of the world, and it does leave those questions as well. Has he been brought in to replace Jadon Sancho? I'm not going to repeat the same old stories we've been saying in the papers the last few days. We know what's going on with Jadon Sancho. We know what's going on with Manchester United. There is a little bit of an impasse, so we say. Dortmund reportedly want £110 million for Jadon Sancho, around that figure. Manchester United want to pay a little bit less, but it sounds like a deal can be done. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But in the meantime, Jude Bellingham about to complete his move to Borussia Dortmund, which hopefully, from a Manchester United point of view, can pave the way for for Jadon Sancho to come here at Old Trafford, where I'm sure it'll be a great success if he does. Now, following the game last night, one of the players that spoke to the media was Paul Pogba, and this is great to hear Paul Pogba speaking to the media. It wasn't that long ago, it doesn't seem like that long ago, that he was saying things like, if I speak, I'll get fined under Jose Mourinho, or he was saying things that were getting him to a little bit of trouble. Remember following the Wolves draw here under Jose, when he said, we should be attacking, and Jose wasn't happy with that and sort of stripped him of the vice captaincy or whatever it was. So the fact that Paul Pogba is speaking to the media and seems happy is always a good thing for Manchester United. Now, he spoke to the media last night after the game, and he spoke about how he wants to win trophies, and how as a club we want to win trophies, and how after last season we didn't win any trophies. He felt empty, and you can understand that. A player like Paul Pogba, player of his talents, he wants to win trophies, and he should be winning trophies. And he said in the summer that he wanted a new challenge. Now, the stories that have been emanating recently suggest that actually he is happy at Manchester United and could be willing to sign a 5-year deal. The club wanting to tie him down here till around 2025. I think his deal runs out next year, and they want to give him a new deal. And the noises are that could happen, and in fact it's probably the noises that aren't being made that makes you think it could, because in Mino Raiola, Paul Pogba's agent, when Pogba wants to go, we always hear from Raiola. He's always making trouble, he's always making noise, he's always saying things in the press, criticising the club or letting you know that other clubs are interested, and he's not been saying much at all recently. He's been rather quiet, which I think is a positive thing. Pogba seems happy, he's speaking to the press in a positive way about Manchester United, about the need to win trophies and the fact that he's up for that challenge. So it's all positive, and I hope it stays like that. Now, again, as we often say with these transfers and contracts and things like that, a lot may depend on the end of the season. I said this the other day, that if United don't have Champions League football, that may throw a spanner in the works. I don't think when it comes to Jadon Sancho, Champions League football may matter as much. There's been some recent reports that Jadon Sancho, even if United don't get Champions League football, would be willing to come. It's just whether United would have the money without the Champions League revenue. With Paul Pogba, he may well look at it and go, can I have another season without the Champions League? I mean, I think he's had, is it 2 seasons already without Champions League football here at Old Trafford, which, it's for a player of his talents, it's quite a lot. So you'd have to wonder whether he'd be willing to do that if we didn't get the Champions League. But again, there's lots of ifs and buts and maybes. But the most obvious thing is that Paul Pogba is happy at Manchester United. The club are happy for him to speak to the press. He seems like he's happy on the pitch as well. The team are playing well, and he's a big part of that. So hopefully, if we can get Paul Pogba to sign, that's that front 5 sorted. And if Jadon Sancho comes in, as I've said many times, we've got options. Even if we can't get Jude Bellingham, doesn't really matter that much if we can get someone like Jadon Sancho as well, the options we've got. So it's all looking cautiously optimistic, as I like to say, over Paul Pogba. Now, reports came out yesterday, sort of came out a little bit out of the blue, for me anyway, that United had actually signed someone, that we'd reached an agreement to sign 17-year-old Real Madrid wonder kid, Alvaro Fernandez Carrera. He's a player that was at Real Madrid, but his contract is running out, and he wrote on his Instagram page, I have made the decision to leave this great club. I wanted to thank all my teammates and the entire coaching staff at Real Madrid for making me a better person and footballer. It has been a real pleasure to wear this shirt and represent this shield. It's time to say farewell and take another path in my football career, take a step towards my dream. The funny thing about last night is United had 2 injured left backs and ended up playing Fosu Mensah, not played for over 1,000 days, which seemed like a bit of a shock. Well, it was a bit of a shock, and it seems to indicate that Diogo Dalot could be on his way out of Old Trafford. I mean, if you can't get a game when you've got 2 injured left backs and a player that's not played for over 1,000 days, doesn't bode well. I feel a little bit sorry for Dalot, because I don't think he's a particularly bad player. I just don't think he's perhaps progressed as he hoped. And let's not forget, he's a big part of the reason Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got a permanent job here at Old Trafford. If it wasn't for Dalot's shot in Paris that night, then we probably wouldn't have got that penalty. We wouldn't have got that penalty. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may well not be in a job here at Old Trafford, but I don't think that's enough to dine out, and you can't keep dining out on a misplaced shot for the next 2 seasons to get yourself a new deal at Old Trafford. And if Ole doesn't rate him, he doesn't rate him. Now, listen, Fosu Mensah, I thought he played well last night. He was a little bit shaky at start, but he did okay. He's a very talented young lad. He's just not had the best of times. He had some pretty awful low moves. He went to Crystal Palace, was right back at Crystal Palace until a certain Aaron Wan-Bissaka took his place. He went to Fulham, which was a bit of a shambles, really. They were just in all sorts of disarray at the bottom of the table. It wasn't really a great move for him. Had injury problems as well. Came back to Old Trafford, got his head down, knuckled down, and got his first start in a long time last night against Crystal Palace. Now, he can play at left back, Timothy Fosu Mensah, but he's sort of more used to playing at right back, or even as a defensive midfielder. He's played there at the past. He played there for the academy, and even played there for the first team a couple of times back under Louis van Gaal. So it's not the sort of strangest thing that Fosu Mensah has been brought back into the side. It's just a bit strange that he's been brought in as a left back. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may well be looking at other left back options, and a young 17-year-old from Real Madrid could be one of those, you know, a long-term option who can come in, can vie with the likes of Brandon Williams and Luke Shaw for the left back spot. It makes a lot of sense. One to keep an eye on. We'll see how that pans out. Reports are that it's almost a done deal, that the agreement's been reached and that he's on his way here. United do like to get young players in, sort of get them used to the club, get them used to the academy and bring them through. We brought Timothy Fosu-Mensah in as a youngster, of course. We brought Delo in as a youngster, although he's a little bit older. So we'll see how that one pans out, and we'll see whether we see Carrera's here next season and whether he's in and around the first team. It's likely if he does come in, he's going to be sort of focused on the academy, as I said earlier. He is only 17 years old. So those are the main stories doing the rounds. Jude Bellingham, he's going. That's a United target that looks like it's completely off now. He'll be going to Dortmund. Jadon Sancho, we know what's happening there. Still the sort of the impasse that I spoke about earlier. Paul Pogba, maybe. Things are looking a little bit more positive on that front. 5-year deal could be on the horizon, although, as I said, we may have to wait until the end of the season to see whether he's going to put pen to paper and see where Manchester United are. Are we going to be in the top 4? Are we going to be winning trophies? Paul Pogba spoken about he wants to win trophies, and he felt empty when he didn't win any trophies, and that's how the fans feel. You know, we want to be winning trophies. We want to be in the Champions League, and at the moment, Manchester United are in with a good chance of that. We're in with a good chance of getting into that top 4. We're in with a good chance of winning trophies. We've got a semi-final against Chelsea this weekend, a team we've beaten 3 times already, so confidence has got to be feeling pretty high there amongst the United squad. So we're going to Wembley this Sunday. We're going to have loads of action there. We're going to have pre-match build-up. We're going to have the watch-along. We're going to have the fan cams as well. If you want to check out the reviews from last night as well, we've got the reviews, we've got the fan cams. You can listen to what House and McCullough, Joe, myself had to say about last night's 2-0 win at Selhurst Park, and we'll also keep you up to date with all the latest news. We've got loads going on at Stretford Paddock, and as always, we appreciate your support. We appreciate the comments you've been making, the fact that loads of you have been subscribing. Get involved in the comments, guys. Let us know if you've heard any transfer stories. You guys know a lot. You guys obviously read the papers, you know what's going on. Some of you make comments as well, and we follow those comments up and find out that, yep, there's some sort of fire to that smoke. So let us know if you've heard any transfer stories, anything you'd like to cover as well, because this is your channel. I've been Jay. We're at Old Trafford. The sun is shining. United won 2-0 at Crystal Palace. Jude Bellingham won't be coming to Old Trafford, but maybe Jadon Sancho will be. Thanks for watching.